And just like that, September is over. It's October. I still have a raspy voice. And from what I've discovered, there are so many Filipinos, particularly in Metro Manila, who are experiencing problems, medical problems, particularly coughs, colds, congestions. And someone even told me, a parent told me that a well-known grade school suspended classes last week and is now reverted to homeschooling or online learning because there are just too many kids getting sick. So wherever you may be, please take care of your health, particularly pollution. Although we in media are not talking much about it, the sad reality is we have a serious case of pollution in Metro Manila. So please do take care. Good morning to all of you. I'm your host, Cito Beltran. Welcome to the program agenda. Thank you for being subscribers of Cignal TV, viewers of One News on channels 8 and 250, and of course on Facebook and YouTube. Let's get straight to the program. We have two features today, so I gotta rush things up a bit. And today, let's go to our daily starter. And this is a bit of fun, but it is so true and related to our first interview. But let's go and go for it. Gab, finally, the fourth ape. He is the sum of the first three. He sees nobody, hears nobody, and speaks to nobody because all he does is look at his tablet or his phone. This is for real. I have a friend who, until he encountered a medical episode, was forever glued to the screen of his iPad, to the point that his fellow journalists were already saying, ano ka ba naman? Addict ka na dyan sa iPad mo at saka sa tablet mo at sa telepono mo. And I'm bringing this up because there are so many people that just need to realize we need to put down our distractions, because when we are eating, we are already bringing phones to the table. When we are socializing, we're constantly looking at our phones while speaking to other people. Mabuti pa nga yung tatlong unggoy, see nothing, hear nothing, say nothing, yung ika-apat, talagang unggoy na. So please, don't be the fourth monkey. Please have a little discipline. Realize there are people around you that deserve your respect. And respect comes in the form of giving not only your time and presence, but your attention. Let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star. Quick pass-through. And the headline for today, Chinese boats block Philippine fishers in Panatag. If you read the content of the story, it turns out that fisher folks or Filipino fishermen are being blocked by rubber boats that have been posted by the Philippine Coast Guard inside the lagoon of the Panatag Shoal. Okay, so that's up to the Philippine Navy and Philippine Coast Guard. What are they going to do about it? Anyway, enough of confidential funds. According to the ACT party list, the photo on the top of the front page that you see there, yung po ang picture of President Marcos, Vice President Education Secretary Sara Duterte, as well as First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos, watching a concert dedicated to educators ahead of the observance of World Teachers Day at Malacanang. I guess it's safer to do the concerts inside Malacanang instead of iconic areas of protest. Anyway, trader gets 4 years for carrot smuggling. a Filipina trader has been sentenced to a minimum of 2 to 4 years for smuggling carrots. Okay. Center photo of the Philippine star shining bright for 65 years. A photo showing the 65th anniversary celebration of SM featuring the SM MOA Globe. Okay. Panahon po namin ng ating first guest, ang tawag namin dyan, Shumart. Tindahan lang kasi sila ng sapatos. Depende kung sa Quiapo ka pumupunta or sa Cubao. Lower in the page, UN or United Nations, remove all barriers to right of information. Okay? And then LPG prices up this month. Nako po, kahapon nagbayad ako ng 55 tank and isang 11 kilo tank. Maabot ako 5,000 para akong nag-full tank ng gasolina. And Marcos congratulates Obiena for Philippines' first gold. Meanwhile, COMELEC issues show cause orders versus 3,784 BSKE bits. Meanwhile, retired Philippine National Police Chief Rodolfo Azorin is asking the Canadian Embassy for a formal letter of apology for his deportation from Canada. Although he says he was not deported kasi baka naman self-deportation lang. Finally, 9 former Socorro members in IACAT custody. Okay, yun po yung cult group in the South. And now we will go for a quick break and we start our conversations this morning. We will feature a veteran expert in journalism to talk about AI journalism in the Philippines. And later we will speak to an expert in digital technology and business here on Agenda. We'll be right back.
Are journalists being valued enough in the country? Some members of the media industry expressed concern over the use of artificial intelligence or AI in the newsroom. In a statement, the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines urged newsrooms to first address the issues on ethics and accountability on the usage of AI. This is to ensure that AI is used to assist journalists and not replace them. Aside from AI, journalists in the country are still worried about their safety and security. Despite improving our rank in the World Press Freedom Index, The Philippines is still labeled by Reporters Without Borders as a difficult country for journalists because of the targeted attacks and constant harassment against them. Under the Marcos administration, 75 cases of attacks and threats against media workers were recorded. It also doesn't help that Filipinos' trust in local media continue to get hit, stirred up with media criticisms. How can we ensure a safe and secured working environment for journalists in the Philippines? Let's discuss this on today's agenda.
Vergel Santos is a trustee of the Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility. A journalist with over 40 years of experience, Santos has edited over at the Manila Times and the Manila Chronicle, as well as in some magazines. He is also the publisher and editorial board chairman of Business World.
Good morning, Sir Vergel.
Hi, Cito. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us. And as I promised and I intended, you are back on the program because you started a conversation that was very hard to ignore. And that was the state of Philippine journalism. In fact, if I may quote you, you were disappointed because by and large, you said journalists were already cowed under the current regime, if we may call it, or probably in this era. Now, could you elaborate on that? Because you've seen it all, Sir Vergel. You've been in journalism, you've been an editor, etc., and you've seen several generations. You were a colleague of my father, etc., and I'm sure somewhere down the line, a grandson of yours or granddaughter is following your footsteps.
I have been discouraging them in any case. It is not an easy profession. And it's totoo yan, Sito. Your father and I saw it all. When the press was widely free, when it was muscled, when it returned with a vengeance in 1986, and now timid and cowed again since the Duterte administration sent a chill across the profession by specifically closing or denying the widest reaching broadcast station a franchise, by threatening the owners of a leading newspaper with business sanctions, by taking to court with multiple charges a leading online news site for which I write regularly. You can imagine, talagang matatakot yung mga periodista, and I can see, and it happens at a time when it is not easy to practice the profession, Sito. Because there is a lot of explaining to do. Unlike before, when you got away with simply reporting what happened yesterday, now we need to do a lot of explaining and possibly a lot of commentating to be able to do justice to our role as watchdog for the public. Hindi ganun kadali eh. So medyo mahirap. Pagkatapos ngayon, pinag-uusapan natin yung AI. As if everything about journalism is programmable. Pwede mong ilagay dyan. Ano? I'd like to think that itong ating profession na to requires just about as much natural intelligence as any other profession in the world. And then some people are thinking of surrendering to some form of artificial intelligence certain functions of the press. I don't think you can do that and still be able to do your profession well.
Okay. Now, going back to how you started in your narrative, what affected Philippine journalism the most? Because, up to a point, people would say, martial law destroyed journalism. But you were the one who pointed out that you guys came back with a vengeance. I was abroad when all that happened. You guys came back with a vengeance. You came out strong again. And then when I returned to the Philippines, the scenario had changed. What affected Philippine journalism the most? Was it the papers? Was it the government? Was it the reading public or viewing public?
If you look at the history of government in this country, Sito, you will be surprised that we didn't have the kind of free, a truly democratic government going in contemporary history. Not really, you know. Why? Because of an operating culture. Kasi ang kultura natin, Sito, is one of patronage. If you looking for a job, you look for a patron. If you're looking to get out of trouble, you look for a patron. And somehow that has solidified into some form of culture. So that today, I think the culture is so entrenched that if you look at the succession of presidents, most of them have operated according to that culture. I can see that what some people in Congress or in the government think as federalization is federalizing dynasties, not the nation, you know, which will only cement even further this culture of patronage that they've been talking about.
Yeah.
Ganun ang nangyayari. I'm afraid of that, very afraid of that.
So culture of patronage becoming a way of life.
Yes.
But what about the fact that when you were a young man, like my father, the papers back then were owned independently. The Roses owned the Manila Times.
Yes.
Fred Elizalde owned the Philippine Sun, the Evening News,
Evening News, yes.
etc. Yeah,
the
you
Chronicle, the Lopez's, the Herald.
Yeah, they were all independently owned, and then
Not really. But I think we have Sito. I think we tend to equate independence with plurality of voices. What we had in the press is simply plurality of ownerships and plurality of voices, hoping that by this plurality, some form of evening out of the playing field will happen. Yun lang naman nagagarantiya natin. Hindi naman talagang yung sasabihin mo papayagan ka ng iyong owner to do as you please using his newspaper. Hindi naman ganon. But because may plurality of voices, somehow we are hoping that plurality of voices would lead to the canceling out of one another, so that some form of level playing field is achieved. Yun lang naman yun no. Kaya ang mga periodista wala namang poder Walang poder, hindi kamukha ng gobyerno. Kaya nga ang sabi ko nga power is meant to be restrained, and rights and freedoms, especially individual rights and freedoms, should be expanded. I think that is the very essence of democracy. Yung democratic duel between power and rights and freedoms on the other hand. Dapat ganoon. Kasi walang kalaban-laban tayo, Sito, kung titingnan mo We only have words, and so does the government. And apart from what we have, that the government also has, the government has BIR and the military and other agencies that can intimidate us. Kaya mahirap ang laban
Okay, now the add to that sad reality is nung panahon ninyo, the worst thing that could be said about a journalist is bayaran o nabayaran. But in our world now, nabili. Hindi yung journalist, nabili yung dyaryo, nabili yung television station, nabili yung media company. So,
yes, I mean, that's true, Sito.
And I don't say that it was, a compromise. They were simply bought out because
hijacking
they were okay,
Wholesale.
hijacking.
Wholesale ang hijacking ngayon. Noong araw, Sito, tingi. Ngayon wholesale. Ano?
Okay, so
that,
may future pa ba, Serverel, for the younger people? Because, I mean, I have to confess, just like you, I tell high school students, college students, no, stay out of media, stay out of journalism. Unless you intend to be a monk with a laptop or you intend to be single for the rest of your life, you have no business asking a family to make sacrifices because of your idealism.
I know it happened to me. I had a truly hard time trying to put body and soul together during martial law. Why? Because nobody would take me in the beginning. You know, having come from a newspaper that criticized very strongly the ruling regime. So ganun talaga ang pangyayari. Kaya you know, Sito, it's so much easier. It was so much easier practicing in my time when I was beginning.
Yes.
You know, I didn't even finish college. I had very, very little college education, but I got by as a journalist. I mean, just learning the streets well served me well as a journalist, and I got by.
Mhm.
Ngayon hindi na eh. Kailangan talaga matuto ka na. There are a number of things required of you. A number of virtues. One is boldness. The more intimidating a government is, the bolder a journalist should be. So pangalawa, yung pangatlo, kailangan ang breadth of view mo medyo malawak eh. At saka ang pang-intindi mo, ano? At dapat yung pinagdaanan mo medyo malalim para ma-explain mo kung ano itong nangyayari sa atin.
But Serverel, do the values, the standards of your generation still apply, and can you actually survive today with that character, Kasi parang ako, I'll be very transparent. I pick my battles. I will fight a war for public health. I will fight a war for social justice. Once in a while, maybe I'll throw a brick at someone in the political scene, but I'd rather concentrate on getting food for people, medicine for patients, etc. Kasi parang, hello, hindi ko naman pwedeng labanan lahat ng buong Pilipinas.
Yeah, you're forced to do that kasi we are swamped with issues. Pag tinignan mo lang kung nalulunod tayo on issues, dapat talaga you must choose your issues, pick your battles. Totoo yan. No? But dapat iwanan natin sa ibang mga organisasyon naman yung dapat gawin. Ano? Like what do you do when you have the kind of regime you have now? The mere fact that what you have as a regime produced from martial law, nakakatakot yan, that by that alone. And true enough, there is enough evidence to show that we are not doing well, to say the least. So, pipiliin mo, ako ganun din eh, no? I am writing for a number of organizations, but more regularly for an on-site on-site organization. So I do a piece of commentary, and I am limited not only by subject, but by words itself. Hindi ka na binabasa kung masyado ka mahaba. So maraming restraints, di ba? Maraming restraints.
The writing style has to be brief.
Yes.
Before, you would tease your audience at the beginning of the story. Now your audience demands that you tell them the story at the beginning of the story.
And not only that, you'll have to pick you will have to pick your media too. Ano kung nasa periodika, ilan ba alam mo yung periodiko, for instance, it's a going industry. Why? The cost of material alone. Nung araw the more copies you print, the higher the income you make, and the more advertisers you attract. Not anymore. Ang points of diminishing returns for print, masyadong maaga na. So wala na masyado nag-print. Ang grabe ngayon itong online, no ha? But ang online naman is shotgun yan no? It's a backshot medium. Kaya hindi maghanap ka lang ng hahanapin mo. Sisiguruhin ba, panoorin ko ngayon si Sito, baka may kasabay ito. Panoorin ko ito, baka may kasabay ito. Baka yung television meron, ano ha? Teka muna, basahin ko muna yung periodiko ko and other paper editions.
What's your anong opinion mo dyan? Because I recently attended an event, and this is a big company with the media. 95% of the invited guests were online writers and influencers. Most people who I didn't even recognize any of them. I only recognize maybe 5 people who work for the newspapers and media and TV. But other than that, 95% were all online influencers. What's going to happen? What is the impact or effect of
Kasi
that?
The net has opened the media to just about everyone. So kahit na sino, tinatawag nila sa sila journalist Hindi nag-reporter yan Sito Hindi nagpunta sa kalsada at nag-cover ng isang storya yan no Basta bigla na lang instant journalists by virtue of the modern media. Yun lang yun, ano? So makikita mo ngayon hindi mo na ilan ang nagpa-fact check, ano? At ilan naman yung sa dami ng hindi nagpa-fact check, mas maraming nararating yung mga taong yon. Yun namang audiences, hindi mo naman pakikinabangan na mag-fact check. Kaya nga binigyan ng press ang tao para gawin ng press ang dapat nila gawin para sa kanilang sarili. Di ba watchdog lang sila wala na ngayon
Does that result in a self-canceling situation?
In a way.
Yeah.
I think in a way. Ganun ang mangyayari niyan. Kaya ako, when I was asked about that, paano gagawin mo? Not only do I choose my battles like you, I choose my constituency. Kung ako, meron na lang ako, halimbawa, like-minded tayo, we want the same thing, Sito. Then let's be part of the constituency. I want to draw the line. Yung hindi ko kamukhang periodista na bara-bara na lang dyan, hindi ako sasama. Yung kamukha ko na medyo, sabi nga nung song, maybe I'm old-fashioned. Feeling as I do. Pero sa akin, ang ethics at saka principles, wala namang nagbabago Hindi nagbabago yan. Standards, hindi nagbabago Kaya hindi mo sabihin sa akin yan na luma ka na Ang nagbabago lang yung panahon Pero yung mga yun, hindi nagbabago. So I would draw the line. Kung halimbawa ako ay civic leader, politiko. Ang sasabihin ko, iaakyat ko itong 110 milyones na tao, lalagay ko sa aking balikat, at aangatin ko, hindi ko kaya Maghanap na lang ako ng 10 milyon. I think that's a very good critical mass. Tutulungan ko na lang ito. Hindi ko matutulungan lahat Ito na lang. At yung iba, kay Marcos na lang kayo humingi ng tulong. Ngayon, kung magbago kayo, at ang tingin nyo, tama pala yung ginagawa namin, why not? Kung nagbago kayo, so I feel I am forced to draw the line.
Okay,
Not
what would you...
only,
Okay, my last question ko na lang, but this conversation will be continued, Sir Vergel.
yeah.
No, because I really want, as I pointed out in one interview, I want to elevate the conversation in the country,
Yes.
Kasi ang nangyayari, parang we either criticize or we give up or we say, bahala na si Batman. But, what would you tell, I mean, we still have a few minutes pa naman, but what would you tell viewers, people who are listening to us now, who will get this show later?
Yes.
What do they need to watch out for, and how should they conduct themselves or do their viewing or listening
Yes,
to
okay.
be able to become informed and benefit from what we're doing?
Ang una kong sasabihin, try to choose common virtues and common cause. Yung pareho tayo ng pinag-uusapan, Pareho ang gusto nating mangyari. Ang gusto nating mangyari, yung tumaas naman ang antas ng buhay ng mga mahirap, at tayo, kung meron naman tayong sobra, pamigay naman natin ng konti para yan magkaroon ng hindi man balanse, umakyat naman yan at magkaroon ng hope. Hindi puro desperation na lang. Yun ang sasabihin ko, common cause. But by saying that, Sito, na kailangan may common cause, ang tawag niya common denominator
Okay,
in physics, and critical mass in physics, very much So kailangan ganon. By doing that, you are forced to draw the line. Di ba? Draw ka na ng line. Ito hindi ko isasama na sa akin kasi hindi ko kaya sigmurain yung ginagawa dito Diba?
Okay, what about
Ito,
what about yung sinasabi ko, pati sa security guard sinasabi ko ito Pwede ba? Mamili naman kayo ng papanoorin nyo o pag-aaksayan nyo ng panahon. Kasi parang, ang napansin ko right now, Filipinos are entertaining themselves. And from time to time when I'm in a foul mood, I'm guilty of that. I do binge watching pag mainit ang ulo ko. Pero
but that's okay. If it is for therapy, that's fine. Pero kung magiging ganun lang gagawin mo all the time, imbis na lumaban ka at imbis na you retire to your shell and be by yourself and entertain yourself. So it defeats the very purpose of community living. Kasi
what should Filipinos watch, or who should Filipinos watch?
I think Filipinos will have to decide for themselves. But there must be some guides, na ang eskwelahan dapat yan Dapat, ako ang tingin ko dalawang platforms. One is yung academic. Kaya nila sinasalbahe yun, Sito yung academic, kasi alam nila kailangan, pag na-hijack nila yan, na-hijack na yung mga bata natin Di ba? Kasi ang nangyayari sa akin ito, Department of Miseducation and Brainwashing ito Pagka nagkaganon na yung educational system natin, kawawa na yung mga bata. So, yun ang isang platform. The other one, town halls. Yung mga community gatherings lang. Na pag-usapan yan, magkaroon lang ng konti, whether Zoom, nakamukha nito, or physically, basta meron lang nag-uusap ng maayos. Basta ang discourse ba ito reason, yung pakikinggan mo kasi
may kapupulutan ng kaalaman.
Exactly, meron ganon. At ginagamit kasi dalawang ginagamit mo rito Sito, hindi naman puro ang dami diyan napakagagaling puro ulo lang wala namang puso
Okay, well, having said that, puro ulo, wala namang puso, meron naman gusto gumaya sa mga sikat o sumikat. Quick answer na lang, Sir Vergel. Would you tell your own grandchildren to follow in your footsteps, or humanap na lang ibang kabuhayan?
Alam mo sabi ko lang yon na hindi ko sila nire-restrain ko anong gusto nila No, basta na-develop mo na sa iyong mga anak at sa iyong mga apo ang tamang mga values, alam mo, hindi ka na dapat matakot eh. Actually, pagka na-develop mo yan sa kanila, yung sense of judgment nila maayos eh. Yun ang napupuna ko.
Okay.
Ang napuna kong hindi yung hindi naturuan ng ganun.
Okay, as they say in the Bible, if you raise a child well, if you teach a child in the
Yes.
way he or she should go, then she will go well.
Yes,
So
yes.
thank you very much, Sir Vergel.
Thank you,
And
Sito.
we will continue with this conversation, trust me. Okay.
Anytime, Cito. And thanks very much.
Okay, have a good day. God bless you, sir.
You too. God bless.
Okay, that's Serverel Santos, trustee of the Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility and a journalist for over 40 years. Yan yung mga kabatch ng tatay ko na natikman na nila yung masundan sila, maimbestiga sila, ma-tax audit sila, makulong sila. Anyway, we'll go to a more pleasant conversation after the break. You will learn much about digitalization from real professionals here on Agenda.
The World Bank recently approved a $600 million loan for the Philippines' digitalization efforts. The first digital transformation development policy loan will help the country to expand its digital infrastructure, spread the growth of digital services, as well as promote e-commerce and skills development in the digital industry. This goes in line with the Marcos administration's digitalization efforts in the country. Back in July, the Budget Department launched the Digital Transformation Roadmap, which seeks to further enhance bureaucratic efficiency and ensure sound fiscal management. For their part, PLDT Enterprise has been in the forefront of discussions about technology trends and innovations. Their flagship event, PH Digicon 2022, a prominent digital thought leadership event in Asia-Pacific, recently received a prestigious Gold Award for Innovation in Business-to-Business Events at the 2023 Asia-Pacific Stevies. How does digital transformation look like in the country? Let's discuss that and more on today's Agenda.
Mitch Locsin is the first Vice President and Head of Enterprise and International Business Groups of PLDT and Smart. Locsin also currently serves as the chairman of the Contact Center Association of the Philippines. Recognized for championing innovative achievements, Locsin was given a Silver Award for Thought Leadership at the 2023 APAC TVs.
Good morning, Mitch. Welcome to the program agenda. I love that last photo of you with a blazer and blue jeans. That's my kind of fashion.
Yes, thank you, Cito, and good morning. Thank you for inviting us here.
Okay, can I start with a very simple question? Because I've heard about it so many times, but I've never had the chance to speak or ask someone what it really means. What is PLDT Enterprise all about? Because, I know the word enterprise, it means selling, business, something like that. But in terms of a big corporation like PLDT, what really is it all about?
Yeah, so PLDT Enterprise is really the group within PLDT and Smart and ePLDT that acts like the hybrid. We serve the enterprises of the country from the smallest micro enterprise all the way to the largest conglomerate and our international customers. We actually have a team even in the US and Asia Pacific. So how do we approach the market? We approach the market we call it the fixed services and solutions, which is really the fiber, the footprint, the backbone to provide the connectivity, the resiliency, not just domestically, but also internationally through our submarine cables. Second is through our wireless solutions, from the plainest corporate postpaid line all the way to IoT solutions that provide devices the connectivity they need to run devices for enterprises. And lastly is the ICT services, which is really the growth area. And that's where everything is, from artificial intelligence, powered by our data centers, our cloud solutions, cybersecurity, and the likes. So we have this carry-all model that we bring to market where we spend time with the enterprise or our enterprise customers and really work together hand in hand to co-create solutions that will help benefit them or their business.
Yeah, so forgive me, Mitch, but no, honestly, I think most average Filipino thinks PLDT is a homegrown business. It is a only in the Philippines business, but you telling me that you have global clients, you have services abroad. Could you just give me 1 minute picture of that? Because that's a surprise to me, if not to many of our viewers.
Oh, definitely. We established our international team through back then PLDT Global Corporation, which serves basically the overseas Filipino professionals. Then that evolved to serving also enterprises abroad. As Philippines is so strategic now to become, it is now the digital transit hub for Asia, mainly because of the geopolitical issues of Hong Kong or the max out Singapore. Because of our strategic location, we act now as a transit hub to distribute data and services to the rest of Asia. So we build up this team in the United States that serves US and Europe, and also in Asia Pacific. It serves customers like OTTs, whether it's the Facebooks, the Googles, the Amazons, Microsoft, and the likes. It serves CDNs, the content delivery networks, so that it fast-track basically the content wherever it is supposed to be served. It serves gaming companies because Philippines has a lot of gamers, and basically you provide those services so that they run through our submarine cables. It reaches the consumers of the Philippines and to the rest of Asia. So that has been ongoing. It's our fastest growth market, and it's continuing to grow because Philippines now is dubbed as the next hyperscaler hub for Asia.
Well, that's second good news for the last 15 days for me, because we were also labeled as one of the highest in terms of hubs for airlines in the Philippines. So it makes sense. Our geographic location does have a blessing in disguise so that everybody makes us the center. Now,
Yes.
having said that, what is the future in the Philippines? You know, not to brag, okay? And I've always said this a lot, almost every day. I always mention PLDT home fiber optic internet, which I love, and you can say, hindi nyo ako binabayaran, okay? So let's be clear. No, but because I really enjoy it. I go to Baguio, I can work from Baguio. I go to Batangas, I can work from Batangas. So is that all part of what you guys do?
Definitely.
Line, etc.?
Yes, definitely. You're actually in a PLDT red, so I will say you're not promoting. But anyway, it goes both ways. So we have the most extensive fiber backbone in the country, with close to or over 1 million kilometers of fiber that cuts across the Philippines in loops. So there's the resiliency. That also powers up our smart towers, so that we can
Mm.
actually provide 4G LTE, 5G services as well. So whether you have a fiber to the home service, which is really pure fiber that gives you the quality, speed, and access to internet, we also have devices like our 5G and LTE wireless devices. So if you're traveling, you can actually just hook up to the wireless network and get the same speeds and quality of service. So it's part of our business. So in PLDT and Smart Group, there's 3 business lines. It's really Smart that provides our wireless services, Home, which provides the fiber to the home, and Enterprise, which serves the corporations and SMEs in the country.
Okay, so having mentioned the word corporation, what is the future of work in the Philippines? Because last vacation I had, I got to speak to digital nomads, and they were saying, you know, Cito, once your country gets the system and the infrastructure together, you guys are going to boom so much, you wouldn't want to go anywhere else.
Definitely. So the future of corporate or corporations in the Philippines, including SMEs, is quite bright. I know that the pandemic really pushed forward the digital transformation initiatives of a lot of corporations in the Philippines, but in the last 3 years, we have seen massive adoption with solutions and technology like cloud, artificial intelligence, and everybody's really just trying to make sure that for 2 things, right? So first is really making sure they reach their customers properly, the easiest way and the fastest way. Second is solutions that provides efficiencies to make their processes internally a lot more easier. Because if you handle both of those items, definitely revenues will continue to grow. So it's quite good for it's quite a good feeling for us, because it plays a small part on nation building, really, and uplifting Filipino lives, right? So
Mm.
we spend time. As I mentioned earlier, we go to the customer, we co-create solutions for issues or concerns or what keeps them up at night, so that they serve their customers better and they're more efficient. So it's quite bright, and I believe we are at the forefront, and things can only get better for the country.
Okay, excuse me. I'm still recovering. But in terms of small businesses, because you mentioned small businesses, what services and technology do you make available to them? Because unfortunately, in the Philippines, I was told that 90% of business are small businesses. So if we're going to focus on a particular community, I think that's where the action should be. What do you have with PLDT Enterprise that could make a big difference or magpapaunlad or lalaki ang kita nila through you?
Yes, so you're definitely right. The MSME industry covers 99.5% of the enterprise in the Philippines. It actually employs 63% of the total labor force in the Philippines, and it's been said by an ADB report that it actually contributes 40% or covers 40% of the Philippine GDP. So what we do in PLDT Enterprise is we try to make it easier for them to decide. I must say, adoption on digital solutions with the medium and some of the small players are actually getting stronger. I just wish that we could do more for the micro and small companies. And we basically make it easy for them, creating a marketplace, starting with connectivity to power up their operations with digital solutions like e-payments, cloud, and the rest of other solutions, depending on what industry they serve. And then there's also the aspect of loans. So we've been working hard with Maya, where we now provide loans, because sometimes it's really a question about how do I transform, how can I afford, and these loans actually guarantee them that they can easily access money to help them transform, which in effect is part of our job to really showcase to the MSMEs the clear ROI on the investments that they do to help them transform so that they are more efficient and serve their customers better. It's really the reach. And I encourage a lot of our MSMEs up to the large conglomerate. If you don't mind, I'll do a shameless plug. We have our Philippine Digicon 2023. It's the largest digital convention in the country. It gets a crowd of about 3,000 plus people at the Grand Marriott Hotel Convention Center. It's coming this October 12 and 13. And it will be a venue for not just SMEs, up to the large conglomerates and the government, because it's always been a partnership between the private and public sector, to learn more about the new technologies that could make a difference in their businesses.
Okay, so when is that again? And where? Grand Marriott Hotel?
Yes,
October.
It's 12 and 13 at the Grand Marriott Convention Center.
Okay, so that's Digicon 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Is this by invitation only, Mitch?
No, it's open to all.
Okay.
Whether you're a student, whether you're an entrepreneur, from the academe up to the enterprises in the Philippines, it's open to all.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am a senior citizen, and it was only last week that I learned to use GCash and Shopee and Pay and Lazada, PayMaya, etc. So, but it makes a big difference to be digitally literate and functional. So please attend these events. But now, Mitch, what is this Go Pilipinas, Go Digital Pilipinas that I read up on? I'm not clear. What is that program all about?
So it's part of the PISAC, which is the Private Sector Advisory Council that our current administration created, which consists of CEOs and business owners that wants to make a difference digitally in the country. So Go Digital is actually an initiative to make sure that there is a program, a campaign that actually cuts across the whole country up to the barangay level that promotes digital, where it has to be very inclusive. Everybody should start learning. It covers academe. It covers every single program to make sure that everyone knows the opportunities they may have when they adopt digital.
Okay, I know that I know there must have been days you read my column and you wanted to shoot me when I'm critical of telcos, but it's just really our common passion to bring digitalization to the country. Now, where are we in terms of PLDT and the government working together? Because like you, I want connectivity. Para naman kahit sa beach pwede ako mag-agenda.
So a lot of that initiatives is now being fast tracked with PISAC as the private sector advisory council, which is getting a lot of attention from our president. And one of a few things is basically the ARTA, anti-red tape, so that we can roll out faster fiber, faster towers without any red tape, and so we can get the reach that the Filipinos deserve. Second one would be an initiative on the connectivity index. This one is quite new. Connectivity index means that the telecommunication companies would step up basically and adopt to a rating system. Let's say this is a 3-star or a 4-star hotel based on connectivity, so that improves the quality of service that we provide. A lot of these initiatives are being spearheaded by not just ourselves, but also our competitors or the other telecoms in the country. So I think it's a first, and I'm really hopeful that you will see a bigger difference in terms of the reach and the quality of services that the telecommunications providers provide.
Okay. Well, I know that President Bongbong Marcos, and this is not a plug, I just recognize good when I see good. I know that PBBM is really pushing hard for digitalization, representing his group that they're into technology. So I do hope this all picks up. But Mitch, I don't think I've done justice to all the stuff you want to talk about. So I'm inviting you personally to come back to the program at your most convenient time, maybe just before the DigiCon, so we can also talk about that for at least 45 minutes and just the whole show for you, because this is important and we need to talk more about it.
Thank you so much, Sito. I'd be glad to come back.
Okay, well, we'll see you very soon, and thank you to PLDT for their home fiber optic internet, mga kaibigan. Laging naasahan. Okay, thank you, Mitch.
Thank you.
God bless.
God bless.
Okay, that is Mitch Locsin, First Vice President and Head of Enterprise for PLDT. And we need to level up our conversation, open our minds to technology, to futures, etc. And now let's go to the closing prayer for this week. And it is from the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. May you receive more than the crown of life. May you see progress in everything you do today. God bless all of you. Please keep it here on One News.